Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the best secondary characters in Smash Ultimate. Now, there's two kind of categories I put secondaries into in this game. You either have a specific secondary, which is just a secondary for one matchup, or you have a general secondary, which is going to be used a lot of times throughout the bracket, kind of more as a secondary character more than a counter pick character. And you also want your secondary characters to be characters that you don't have to put too much time in with, because you want to be spending most of your time on your main. Your secondary is a character that you aren't really going to be needing a majority of the time, so you shouldn't be putting a majority of your practice into it. So let's just get right into it. Now, I mentioned earlier on that there are specific secondaries, and I want to mention a couple of characters I think a lot of people are having trouble with in the meta right now, and the best secondary for that specific character, and then we'll be talking about general secondaries for the rest of the video. There's going to be a couple repeats on there, but regardless, first character is for Game Watch. Now, I would recommend picking up Ike for Game Watch. I know it sounds a little bit weird because Ike is traditionally not a very good character, but he actually does incredible versus Game Watch because his kill confirms are amazing on him. He has that massive sword, so he doesn't have to worry with that shield pressure as much like the rest of the characters in this game. They can't really touch Game Watch's shield. Ike has the novelty if he is able to apply at least a little bit of pressure. You, of course, still do have to be spacing. You still have to be mindful because Game Watch is a character that is still going to kill you in one hit. He's still going to keep you in disadvantage for a long time, but Ike has the disjoints and he hits hard enough to be able to deal with Game Watch. Next up, you're going to have Kazuya. Now, I would recommend Min for Kazuya. Min is a very easy character to pick up. You don't really have to learn any combos, but you do have to learn is a different kind of tempo and a different neutral game plan, so it's going to be a little bit different than playing other characters, but once you kind of get the hang of it, you're going to be very successful versus a character like Kazuya that has a lot of trouble closing that distance. Like Min absolutely bullies this character. You have Cloud as well for Steve. Now, I know that a lot of people are struggling with Steve, and I know that a lot of people don't have secondary Clouds, and I need this to change because Cloud is by far Steve's worst matchup. It is incredible. You look at Spargo Steve, or Spargo Aquila, it's Spargo doing very well versus Aquila, but it's also Cloud doing very well versus Steve. The back air and the forward air and all the aerials are just incredible at destroying blocks. He keeps them in disadvantage really well. He's one of the best characters in the game at contesting minecart. Overall, Cloud just is amazing in that matchup. And then the final one is going to be Rob. Game & Watch does insanely good versus Rob. All that nair pressure that you have with Rob that you get on every other character in the game, you don't get to do that versus Game & Watch. The combos are amazing for him. He gets clipped by every single hit of the nair. The ledge can be really tough. Game & Watch in general is just an amazing counter pick. And you'll mention all the characters that I mentioned, I mean, 3 of them you're going to see later on in the list, a little bit of a splitter, but they are all characters that have strong neutral game plans, aside from Ike. His is a little bit weaker, but it's so good versus Game Watch that it works. But in general, they're easy characters. They don't have some super hard combos you need to learn. You just need to learn their basic game plan and their basic things that are good for them, and you're able to utilize the character in the matchups that they're good for. Now, if a character that you're struggling against didn't come up in that little segment, then please leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to, or someone else will be sure to tell you a great secondary for that character. But moving on to more general secondaries, the first one I want to mention is Mii Brawler. I'm surprised people haven't figured out how good this character is yet. Mii Brawler is absolutely insane. He has so many things going for him, specifically in the grab area. Mii Brawler always gets everything off grab because he has special combos off the grab, he has kill confirms off the grab, he just has general damage off the grab because his aerial combo game is also insane. You're going to be getting most of your stuff off down throw, but his other throws, they aren't bad either. They're nothing super crazy. You're going to be killing with some of those throws, but it's towards the higher percent where most throws are going to be starting to kill. So it isn't a huge benefit for the character, but just in general, the grab game is really strong. Thrupper is an incredible move. The fact that you can combo off it an up tilt, off an up air, off a down tilt, off a grab, and it kills. Like, you have to start banning Battlefield against people that have secondary Mii Brawlers, because if they're able to take you that stage with this character, they're going to be getting kills sub 60% consistently. He also just has a generally strong crit. A lot of kill confirms even outside of Thupper. He has nair into jab block combos. His down tilt confirms. He has up airs, things. Just everything the Mii Brawler's kit combos into itself. He's fairly strong. Just an amazing character in general. Very mobile as well. Like, he's literally just a Diet Fox, but he's way easier and maybe even a little bit better. The next character I want to talk about is going to be Samus, and this gives me the opportunity to talk about tempo mixing with your secondaries. Now, when you're switching up a character, generally you don't want to stick to the same archetype, because then a lot of your habits are going to be staying the same. Your game plan in general is going to be the same. If you go from a super fast rushdown character to a super slow camper like a Dark Samus, it is an amazing tempo change. Usually when you are switching to a secondary character, it's because you either lost the previous match or you're really uncomfortable in the matchup. You want to be playing at a different tempo than you normally would to be throwing people off. And Samus is a character, if you are playing Rushdown, that allows you to do that. And she's also insanely broken. Like, Samus, Charge Shot alone is a top 20 character. And then you add the rest to her kit and she's just amazing. She has so many confirms off charge shot alone. Her normal combo game is just incredible. She has some of, if not the best ledge trapping in the game, as well as some of the best disadvantage in the game because of Bomb. That one move makes so many characters hell. Like, Bomb on ledge literally invalidates half the cast. It is actually ridiculous. She has an amazing out of shield game. She can also have ladder combos because her up B kills off the top for some reason. Again, I didn't design this character. She also hits like a truck with her like move like an up tilt, with a move like dash attack, moves that you can combo into, by the way. The only downside of this character is sometimes they get a little bit predictable in their charge shot spamming over and over game plan, but that's only the Samus players allowing themselves to do that, especially if you're a secondary of the character. I feel like this happens a lot more with mains of the character. They're going to abuse the same habits over and over and over again because they know what their options are amazing. It's going to be a lot more vibes on your secondary, so you're not going to be falling into that habit as much as just shooting charge shot, getting predictable times. I think your Sam's probably going to be a lot more loose than someone who's more committed to the character, and I think you could cause some serious damage. I highly recommend you pick up Samus or Dark Samus, even if the other character you're playing is a more traditionally slow character. They're just such an amazing character to have in your roster because they're just so incredible. Next up is going to be Game & Watch, and I fully believe that everyone should have on some level a pocket Game & Watch because this character is insanity. The fact that you just cannot touch his shield doesn't seem really fair to me, and even if you do touch his shield and you somehow have a long enough disjoint that allows you to outspace it, it's not like Game & Watch is in a bad position now. He just gets to float away, you know, reset the neutral situation. He's very rarely punished for missing an up B. He also has like 30 moves that will deal 50% because they just combo into each other. Nair is insane. That move is massive. He has the best juggling in the game and the best advantage state in the game with his up air and his up B and just everything that he has. He's amazing frame trapping. His smash attacks are also insane. Like, they looked at a character like Game & Watch and said, do you know what he needs? Really, really, really good smash attacks. So they gave him those. He also has amazing tilts. He also has amazing ledge trapping with just bacon or with just his normal moves, or his edge guarding is insane because of how long back air lingers as well as how deep he can go. He can hit people when he's going up with up B. Like, this character can literally do everything. Game & Watch is insanely broken and everyone should be playing him. Next up is going to be Cloud. Now, I don't know if Cloud is necessarily the best sword character in the game right now, but I do think he probably is the best secondary sword character just because his game plan is so solid. Cloud is such an amazing secondary because all of his moves are massive. So you're starting with the character that has massive disjoints on everything that he does. So while you do still need to space, the spacing can be a little bit looser. You know, you don't have to be as precise because even if it's not a fully spaced back air, it's probably going to be safe. Anyway, you also have an amazing out of shield game. You also have a lot of stall potential with this character that makes his recovery a lot better than it actually seems to be. Like, you have stall with neutral special, you have stall with side B, you have obviously your up B snapping from really low, to be honest, and the up B hitbox going above you. You have limit whenever that's going to be a factor. So a lot of the time when people see Cloud, it's like, yeah, I don't know if that's a character I want to pick up. He seems good, but I'm really scared to be dying off stage. You see people when they pick up Aegis as well, they're less comfortable with the character, so they give up a lot more just greedy air dodges. They want to get back down. They're not comfortable up there. Cloud is a character where you're going to be struggling from that a little bit, but you are able to stall. You do have your ways out. You can come down aggressive, which is always going to be an option with some characters. Cloud has a great downer for that, but to be fair, it's something that's super risky. So if you are picking up Cloud, I think the thing that you need to get the best at is going to be his disadvantage state, being comfortable when you get hit, knowing your resources, knowing what you have left, and being able to stall in the air just so you are able to live, because the neutral doesn't play itself, but the neutral is really good. Dash attack is amazing. Back air is one of the best neutral tools in the entire game. Forward air is insane. Like, so many of Cloud's neutral game plans work against so many characters because his moves are so impressive. His hitbox are so big. So if you are picking up Cloud, which is another character that I highly recommend picking up, I think if you work on the disadvantage state, everything else is going to come along with it. Next up is going to be Min Min. Now, Min Min is one of the most polarizing characters in this game, but I love polarizing characters for secondaries because they have some really good matchups and some really bad matchups, and you will never need to send them into a really bad matchup, and in fact, you're probably just going to be sending them into the really good matchups. And Min Min, oh my lord, she destroys certain characters because they just can't get in against her. She just has too much pressure from too far away. It's just not doable. She can edge guard you while on stage, and if she messes up the edge guard, she just ledge traps you, and her ledge trapping is also amazing. God forbid Min Min gets a grab and the game just ends. This character is so hard to deal with. They have consistent killing, they have consistent gipping, so they have consistent comebacks. Like, Min Min is overall an amazing character. As I said earlier with Cloud, though, you are going to get used to being a character that can die in just one hit off stage, so you have to be careful, but a lot of the time Min Min is just able to pressure back, so it's really hard for characters to actually go in an edge guarder unless they are experienced in the matchup, in which case you may be in a little bit trouble. So again, when you are picking up Min Min, I highly recommend that you get comfortable off stage, you get comfortable in the disadvantage because the neutral is so incredibly strong. And the final character I want to talk about is going to be Steve. Now, I know I said earlier on in the video that generally you're going to be wanting to pick up an easy character as your secondary, and Steve is by no means an easy character. When played at the super top level, played correctly, he's potentially the hardest character in the game, just the amount of tech that you need to know. Now, normally, though, you don't have to do any of this. And if you want to succeed with Steve, he doesn't have to be the hardest character in the game, which is what makes him so strong in the current meta. A lot of his stuff is very, very easy. He has stuff that is incredibly difficult, some of the most tech-savvy stuff in the entire game. You don't need to do that, though. If you're okay with just taking 60, 70%, notice, just 60 or 70%, then you're going to be absolutely fine with this character. And you still can learn the harder stuff. Obviously, it's just going to be more time put into it, but you'll definitely get away with knowing your basic combos, knowing when to minecart. Again, I talked about earlier, character remains getting into the habit of abusing their really good options. If you're secondarying Steve, hopefully you won't be falling into that option as much. Your autopilot in neutral will be a little bit better than just a side B and then downer over and over and over again. And Steve is a character that can be played super difficultly at the top level, but if you want to pick him up as a secondary, you can definitely just do the basic stuff and have a lot of success. And there are 3 more characters that I want to mention, but I don't feel like they need their own segment. That is going to be Aegis, Lucina, and Kazuya. Now, for Aegis and Lucina, I feel like it's just kind of the same general rule as Cloud, except for Aegis having a little bit more combos and needing to know when to switch to Pyra and when to switch to Mithra. You're a good swords character. You have good neutral. You have a good advantage state. You need to work on your disadvantage. You're able to utilize your other strong tools, and you're probably going to be fine. And then Kazuya is just a bit of a weird one. Essentially, with Kazuya, if you can electric and you can do a 0 to death, you're going to be an amazing Kazuya player. You just need to be picking matchups where he's not going to be getting walled out super hard. Just like when you're playing Min, you need to be picking matchups where she's not going to be rushed down super hard. So those general rules of pick to your character's strengths and you will be having more success. And I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Again, if there's anything I got wrong in this video, maybe a character I left out that you think is a really good secondary, please let me know down below. The sport has been absolutely unreal lately. Thank you guys for everything. Be sure to sub, all that yada yada, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.